Greetings YouTube. I have been tagged to do the RPG tag, so here we go. I've been sent a list of 12 questions. I thought there were originally 15, but according to this there's 12, so I'm just going to go with this. Number 1, what is the first system you played? That would be the first edition of Dungeons & Dragons. 2, first character. The first character was a guy named Tissel. I stole that from some book. I don't remember which book. And he didn't last very long because the roles went against my character. Interestingly, I learned at a later date that it actually had been designed so that there was a chance he could have survived. He was actually facing death, but it was death that was scaled to the character. So he passed on. However, I then decided I'd play his brother. What the heck? I wasn't particularly creative at the time. And I played Takan, and he became Sir Lord Ranger Takan, which is his portrait is on my wall. And at a far later date, when Takan was well above 20th level, he eventually went and rescued his brother from hell itself, because essentially he had been taken too early. So he brought him back, but he was strangely changed, if I remember correctly. Like he was almost like permanently invisible. It was like kind of a almost corporeal ghost. It was weird. I can't remember all the details. But yeah, so that was my first character. 3, favorite system. I would say D20, and that is a broad category of systems as far as I'm concerned. So that covers Pathfinder, it covers Radiance, it covers Mutants and Mastermind, it covers my favorite version of Gamma World, the 1992 edition. So it's a broad spectrum of games, but the heart and core of it is the D20 mechanic, and I think that one of the best iterations of it is in Pathfinder and in Radiance, and where my tastes fall vary from one extreme to the other. There are times I just love Pathfinder so much for the way it presents the game, and there are times that it is just way too complex. It's kind of like the role-playing version of the Chinese curse. May you have many options. 4, favorite character you've played, PC for player or NPC for GM. For me, it would have to definitely be my Sir Ranger Lord Takan, or Lord Ranger, however it works out. Remember back in first edition, every level had a title. And I loved him. I played him from first level up through 26th, when I actually just stopped playing him. I can't say I officially retired him or not. And we got ridiculously powerful. I really need to do a video just about him someday. That would be cool. And for an NPC, that would be Otto of Otto's Oddities. I've used him in a number of different ways, but the character essentially owns a shop that sells weird stuff. In a Gamma World campaign, I played him, and he was Robert Adams, the author, who was in actuality an immortal who was caught on a planet that was attacked by aliens, which caused the apocalypse. So he just became one of the people that had to survive this in this world, and he eventually helped found a nation of freedom-loving people based roughly on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and the Free Range. And he just retired to own this shop and deal in weird stuff. And in a fantasy game, he was an ex-rogue who had found a gate, kind of like Stargate Gate, that every 14 minutes it would open up to a new portal. So he used this to acquire weird stuff, including, at one point, some numerous bars from the actual Fort Knox. So he was very wealthy. He did it just because he liked to, and he sold weird things and interacted with adventuring groups. And he was a major NPC. I loved Otto in all his iterations. 5, least favorite character you've played, PC for player or NPC for GM. As a GM, any NPC I didn't like playing didn't last long. I just didn't play them again, or I made sure they got killed off. As for least favorite for PC, that's a weird question for me. I spent many years being GMs, and I can't say I had a least favorite character, because in some ways I haven't had a chance to play as many as I wanted to. I can't actually tell you what the least favorite one was. Favorite world. For fantasy, I would go with the Forgotten Realms. I've used that the most, I guess, if you look at number of hours played. As far as science fiction, I prefer for the most part, either Earth. I did run my longest game mode campaign on another planet, but I have enjoyed using our planet for post-apocalyptic settings numerous times, and of course for cyberpunk and things like that. And I think it would be the perfect setting for the Mutant Epoch, which I think would be an awesome system for running a Judge Dredd type game or a cyberpunk setting. And the fact it doesn't have any hacking rules is a plus, not a minus. 8. Miniatures or Theater of the Mind. I've used both with equal success. A lot of second edition D&D, I used a lot of miniatures. I still have a lot of the plastic stuff and little cardboard foldy miniatures that use stand-up ones. I have lots of those just kicking around. I should probably do a video about those at some point as well. But then again, and for all 3rd and 3.5 edition stuff I've done, and some Pathfinder stuff I've done, I've only ever done Theater of the Mind. So there was no question that you can do both, even if you're using systems that have attack of opportunities and things like that, in my opinion. 9. Worst critical glitch or failure in a game. Well, we had a player character who had a guy roll to stun a Boudin, which is essentially, it was a winged weasel the size of a 707. And he shot it with a stun rifle. And it was essentially, there was no chance he would harm it. Except I rolled an 01. And then it plowed out of the sky into him like a lawn dart, killing him. And then one of the other player characters rushed forward and started frantically looking for his body. And I said, with what? A comb? But that would probably be the most spectacular critical glitch or failure in any game I've had. That was a legitimate roll. It was just amazing. 10. Best or favorite critical success in a game. We killed Satan in Under the Storm Giant's castle. And that was just awesome. My friend Greg will remember that one, I think. And we were out at 3 a.m. in someone's front yard cheering and hopping up and down because we had killed this. It was just fun. 11. Favorite class type of character to play. I tend to play warrior ranger types, though I have enjoyed playing sorcerers. I don't like the book learny type of casters. I prefer the more intuitive type of casters. So I never had a chance to play a warlock. I really would think that would be cool. And it's also one of the reasons I like the psionic system so much, because it's a spell point system that I think requires no memorization. You've got your powers and you feel them with your points and you're good to go. So that's the kind of thing I prefer. But as far as you look at a number of hours played, it's going to be a warrior fighter type things, rangers and fighter thief, in case I had a character that was a fighter thief for a long time, and I just had a straight up dwarven fighter I loved to play. Drummore, he was awesome. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I've enjoyed. 12. Least favorite. Oh, I would like to play a shape changer someday, like a werebear, or again, that's a fighter warrior type. I'd love to do that. I never had a chance to do that. 12. Least favorite class type of character. Bards, man. I would never play a bard. And with Pathfinder has so many clerics out there, for example, I would never play an oracle. I would be very, very unlikely to play a witch. The whole hex thing just isn't my vibe. I'm very unlikely to play a straight rogue. I've done a few in my time, but it's not as much fun as I'm not a sneaky type. That's not my thing. I did play a dual class human. It was a fighter who had just started taking up some rogue classes levels when the campaign ended, and that was kind of fun. He was over the top, very bombastic. Morgan Twinblade, very tasteful name, don't you think? He fought with 2 short swords back when it was difficult to have rules that really worked well for people using 2 weapons. But I think that he would be fun to play again. I think you could do a really nice version of him in Pathfinder. He'd probably be a straight rogue now. I think he would. That would be fun. So yeah, but yeah, like bards, people that sing and stuff. No, not my thing. It's just I'm not that kind of player. So hey, there you go, folks. That is the in my answers to the RPG tag, and I will put the questions below if in case anyone wants them. Feel free, and I may actually link this onto the Usenet group, see if anybody else wants to join in. I don't think many of them are on YouTube, but I guess we'll find out. So tell me, what do you think?